Parents often ask, why is it that my child is now having difficulties and it hasn't been picked up before, or I don't understand why all of a sudden this is happening. And there's so many different reasons that a teenager may all of a sudden present as having difficulties. Number one is in high school, there's all different teachers for all different subjects. And so it's not like primary school where there's that one teacher who's monitoring how they're performing over different subjects and therefore more able to identify, okay, well, I think actually they should be doing better in this subject based on how they've performed in other subjects. So you haven't got that same sort of relationship with the teacher. There's also students, by the time they become teenagers, they've already developed a lot of coping strategies. It may be that some teenagers are quite social and so they will rely on their friends. It may be that in the classroom they're having difficulty actually taking in the information or even getting the information down from the board, and so they've got a nice social group that will support them, and they'll either swap notes or they'll ask their mates to explain it later. And so generally these strategies will only get them so far. And parents call me and say, look, I just see my child putting in so much effort and it's not translating to exams, and they're starting to feel really demotivated and starting to become anxious. And it's a really common thing. So what we do, we first of all start with a language assessment. So at Truly Heard, we're all speech pathologists. We're all trained in the neuroscience of learning and language, and it's language that we use when we're in the classroom. We're drawing on how much do we understand from what we hear, what do we understand from what we read, how well do we explain that or use our language to query it and problem solve, and then how do we use that language to express our understanding in the written form, in exams and essays. So if a teenager is having difficulty, it could be in any one of those places, in any one of those skill sets. So we start with an assessment that looks specifically at their receptive language skills, so their comprehension skills, their understanding of vocabulary, complex sentence structure. Do they understand the main idea? And then we also look at their literacy skills. What's their spelling like? What's their writing like? So that and also their reading. We also look at their reading comprehension and their reading speed, so that we're getting a full picture of all those skills that they need to perform well at school. I've had a student that I'd like to talk to you about, and it's a classic case of a student that goes under the radar. So for confidentiality reasons, I'll just call her M. So it was year 11, M's parents called and said, really don't know why she's struggling so much. The learning support teacher has recommended that we come to you for an assessment. And so through our language tests, we actually identified that M had difficulty with getting the main idea. So she was very good at hearing some information and remembering details, enough that people would think she understood the whole lot. But actually, if you don't get the main idea, then you can't connect it with other concepts you've learnt previously, and you also then struggle when you're in an exam situation or you're writing an essay to then put your ideas forward under that banner of that main idea and then sequence supporting ideas under it. So once we identified what M was having difficulty with, we then set about designing a language program that then helped her understand vocabulary more effectively, helped her understand how to take in a lot of information and process it quickly and efficiently and retain it. We then helped her in understanding how to translate that language in a concise way to her writing, and then how to structure her essays so that they actually flowed and explained her level of thinking, and there was a story that was being threaded through it. So I hope that explains a little bit about why teenagers can sometimes go under the radar, why it appears that all of a sudden they're having difficulties. If you have a teenage child that you would like to discuss, then please give me a call, and I'd be more than happy to try to help. All right, thank you.